Thank you so much for staying with us. I've been speaking with a special advisor to the Senate President on Media and Publicity, Honorable Eseme Eyiboh, and tonight we're focused on the National Assembly's controversial sports utility vehicles for tonight. Honorable, before we went on that break, you talked about change, and I know you know that change is constant. So if ordinary Nigerians are adjusting, changing from getting fed 3 times a day to 1 meal per day, what stops lawmakers from also adjusting? Because many people also want to know why the lawmakers did not opt for locally made vehicles to boost the Nigerian economy.
Yeah, I think there's a dimension you've just brought in there, the issue of the patronage of locally made vehicles. I'm sure you are also aware of the extant Procurement Act. You know, to the extent that in every competitive bidding, there's no waiver. Every competitive bidding, there's going to be a technical evaluation. In the technical evaluation, so many things are put into consideration in technical evaluation. There's also financials, technical and financial evaluation. So when you put all these things together, even if it's your husband who is bidding along, your hands will be so tight that you will not be able to oblige because of the extant provisions of the law. And that said, you also have a situation, unfortunately, the National Assembly, I am a creation and creature of the National Assembly, and I know how it works. I have gone through its evolution. So if there is anything, Jumoke, trust me, I will tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. But in the circumstance of this vehicle, I can tell you clearly that in the absence of the violation of any procurement issues or a breach, of the constitutional responsibilities of either of the parties, that is the bureaucracy of the National Assembly or, the political leadership, I will tell you, and they will pay for it. But there is nothing like that. I have said in my when I started in my preamble, I have said here that unfortunately the National Assembly are unable to unable to inform as much as they are performing. But the civil service structure, it is a mix. The civil service structure, they rarely speak. They say you can only be seen and not be heard. They don't speak. All what they do is documentation, documentation, and documentation. And when you begin to wage the insensitivity allegation against the political leadership, they also become stranded because they don't understand the process that the bureaucracy took to arrive on any decision that they have taken. So it is a clear balance. So people are now walking through the corridor of that divide to now weigh this war of perception, on the elected representative. But be that as it may, I think gradually I want us to understand, because when you hear 150 billion budget for National Assembly, some people will say, oh, it's meant for constituency projects. Some people will say, oh, that's the money they use in buying cars. It is important to let the public be aware that when you say the budget of the National Assembly, it includes the salary and wages of the civil servants. You have more than one permanent secretary in the National Assembly. You also have a director general, a professor, and lecturers in the Nigerian Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. You also have chairman and commissioners in the National Assembly Service Commission. You also have line staff, and these people are all on salaries and all of that. So when you hear that this is the budget of the National Assembly, people are quick at saying that it is the money meant for senators and House of Reps. That's not correct. It's important we also weigh in and begin to raise this conversation and let people be aware that there are other arms, there are other departments under the National Assembly. If you ask me, and I will tell you, let us now begin to do something for ourselves. The impact of development. You are talking about adjustment. The impact of development and adjustment. Let us go and start it at the subnational. Because most of the people who are affected by poor governance is at the 774 local government across our country.
Eseme.
Yesterday, I can tell you, yesterday, members, executive of the Parliamentary Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, they are threatening, and of course that is what is happening at the subnational, to go on strike because of financial autonomy for the state houses of assembly. Now the issue is, we can all add our voices to now say, let there be autonomy, let the autonomy in the local government be effected, let the autonomy in the state houses of assembly be effected. Once we are able to add our voices and bring this reform to the table, you will see that this thing will be seamless and thorough. And I plead.
All right, Honorable Eseme, I wouldn't want us to, shift focus and drift away from the focus of this discussion. The important aspect of this discussion is, why are these SUVs important for these lawmakers at this time? And I'm sure you're aware that some of these lawmakers have reacted to this issue. They blamed this action on the poor state of roads in the country. Is that not an indictment on the political leaders?
I think, Jumoke, I must tell you, whoever said that the purchase of those vehicles is predicated on the poor road network is a personal opinion. It is not a representation of the opinion of the bureaucracy of the National Assembly, who actually are the persons in custody, the person who placed the order, the person who participated in the process, and who are the owners of these vehicles. They are the owners. So if somebody have said, like you said, I didn't hear, that the vehicles were meant to give to lawmakers because of the poor state of Nigerian roads, I mean, that argument, I cannot align with that argument. But what I am saying is that the justification for the vehicle must have gone through a whole gamut of procurement allowances. That if, for example, Toyota, Ford, two other local companies now came together to bid. They went through competitive bidding now to bid for this requisition. And at the end of the day, through technical evaluation, through commercial evaluation, these are expert issues. And from the evaluation, they will now pre-qualify bidders. And when you go into the bidding, the amount you are given, if you are given an amount which is ridiculously low, it will be evaluated to know whether you are just doing it just because you want to win and all of that. So there are a lot of technical issues involved in the issue of procurement. It can be taken from anywhere. Yes.
Honorable Eseme, well, I personally feel that it's an indictment on the members of the National Assembly if any lawmaker is thinking in that direction. I mean, blaming bad roads for acquiring these SUVs. But again, statutorily, lawmakers are entitled to 400% of their annual salary as car loans, which is far lower than the cost of your SUVs at 160 billion naira each. And many say it's a breach of the revenue mobilization law in the country. Do you agree?
Well, I start first by saying that I don't associate, even though I didn't hear on the issue of purchase of these high-end vehicles as a result of poor roads. I don't associate with that argument. But I think whoever made that argument was a personal representation. That's what I can say in that case. Now, you are talking about the procurement of such vehicles, and you want to know why it was done to the detriment of the local production. I have stated here and clearly that procurement process, you are in this country where even in some cases, tires. When there is procurement process, the procurement process has...
Honorable Eseme, that's not my
criteria.
question. That's not my question.
Please, what's your question?
This was what I said. Statutorily, lawmakers are entitled to 400% of their annual salary as car loans, which is far lower than the cost of the SUVs at 160 million naira each. Many say it's a breach of the revenue mobilization law in the country. So I'm asking, do you agree?
Yes, there is no breach. There is no breach. Because these vehicles are not in the name of the lawmakers. You can't buy the National Assembly. The National Assembly bureaucracy cannot buy the car in the name of Eseme Eyiboh. No, it's not done that way. You need to go and find out. The vehicles are property. They are properties of the National Assembly. If at the end of the day, within the relevant tax provisions, then wear and tear, and the vehicle is being assessed, and the user is being given a right of first refusal, he will pay on the basis of the result of that assessment. For example, recently over 500 or 1,000 directors in the civil service, were forcefully retired. They were given a right of first refusal on their vehicles. So these vehicles were boarded, assessed, and sold to them. It's like that everywhere. So it is not the personal vehicle of any senator or House of Representative member. So it has nothing to do with Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission.
Honorable, if these are official properties of the National Assembly, why must returning lawmakers get new vehicles? I mean, if the new joiners are getting, we understand, but returning lawmakers, why are they getting new vehicles?
Can you repeat that again, please?
You said that these vehicles are official properties of the National Assembly. So I'm saying, why must returning lawmakers get new vehicles? If you're buying for new joiners, that's quite understandable. But if the lawmakers are returning, why can't they maintain the old vehicles they used in the past assembly?
See, well, for the purposes of enlightenment and going deep into understanding how it works, if, for example, it's not automatic that after your first tenure, you are coming back second tenure. If in that first tenure, vehicles were provided, and at the end of the tenure, the vehicles would be assessed by a department under the bureaucracy on the issue of the evaluation of these vehicles. Whatever price is arrived at, the person who was using that vehicle has won the right of first refusal. He may say, I don't need it. You take it. It will be sold. It will be put in the public out there for anybody to buy. You can also buy. So, but if in the course of that purchase, I benefited from it, and my people have deemed it fit that I should come back for second term, then I come back for second term. The same institution, the National Assembly, have now bought vehicles, not meant for me, but vehicle meant for its operations. They are operational vehicles. The vehicles in their contemplation and consideration is intended to assist lawmakers to partake in their oversight responsibilities. If they take such decision, and that decision is not taken without the consideration and the participation of other agencies like public procurement, So once that is taken, you cannot say because I took a vehicle in the last term, because you don't know the state of that vehicle. After another 4 years, which will make 8 years then, and I am given a right of first refusal and I have the money to buy, I will definitely buy. Any other person can buy. So the point here is, it is not a vehicle which is bought and directed to a particular senator or a House of Reps member. No. The vehicle is a pool vehicle owned by the National Assembly. And this thing is allocated out. If anything happens to the vehicle during the course of your tenure or when the vehicle is in your custody, it will be treated the same way, that the allowances of the public service in that respect obliges.
All right. Honorable Eyiboh, I do not know to what extent these explanations will go as far as changing the narratives out there, but thank you very much for helping us with some insights into that issue. But quickly, what more should Nigerians expect?
I'm giving you a statement of fact.
All right, but what more should Nigerians expect from the Senate for enhanced development? Quickly.
What did you say?
What more should Nigerians expect from the Senate for enhanced development in the country? Quickly, 1 minute.
The average Nigerian should expect from the Senate, enterprise development initiative through a legislative agenda. The average Nigerian should now be proud of the Senate because the present Senate is going to give Nigeria a new image an image that will be able to translate into prosperity and growth plans. So this particular Senate, the way they are going, if they consistently follow the path they are going now, it will be the best in our annals. There's no doubt about that. And its leadership is the strongest in terms of welding together the various strengths of its members to be productive and upscale.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Eseme Eyiboh, Special Advisor to the Senate President on Media and Publicity. And tonight we focused on the National Assembly's controversial sport utility vehicles. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.